Why is this important now in this era? Because AI automation is the talking point of every business and every government department right now. They're looking for ways to automate. What does that mean? It means that as a human, you need to find ways to increase your value. And I see the frustration in people now. What am I going to do if my job gets automated? I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s, people will say, how am I going to? Well, that's just crap. Because you can add value to yourself now. Change now. Because once you start adding value to yourself, and you do it through changing your brain model, once you start adding value to yourself, you become more valuable to yourself and to the market. And in this changing market, the one skill that's more important than anything. People say to me it's coding, becoming a software engineer. No, it's being creative with ideas and knowing how to align that with AI. So AI, if you're a deep learner, AI will be your best friend. Let me repeat that. If you are a deep learner, AI will become your best friend, because together you will create a lot of ideas. And that's what I'm encouraging all my students. This is the game here is to become so creative with your ideas, to chase and to action towards your desire that eventually you will use AI to help you in your destination, because AI will become an integral part of everyone's life. But being a surface learner in AI is not going to help you. Being a surface learner, having the traditional model and relying on others is not going to help you. This is about self-reliance. Deep learning practice is about you coaching yourself, because the best coach is yourself, on yourself. All this for me was my practices. The online course that I did was, again, a project for me to create a course so I could use my own course. I was a teacher and a student, and of course this was advised. I'm fortunate enough that I have a mentor that's helped me through this process. So I'm humbled by the 1,000 students on the course. I didn't expect this. This is not my main game. AI is my main game in terms of how I earn a living. AI is what I do. And with AI, what do? Where we have to learn how the human brain works. We have to speak to neuroscientists and neurologists so we can understand how the brain works. So I've had that privilege of learning so much, because hey, with AI, we're trying to teach a machine to think and act like a human. But what I learned is we're teaching machines methods of self-learning, and yet we haven't done this for the humans, and the human brain is so much more advanced. So sometimes you think you're doing something. My goal was simply to become a master deep learner, to get better and better at becoming a deep learner. Solve problems towards a desire. Teaching is one of those deep learning practices. I didn't expect to have 1,000 students, so I'm really happy for that, but it's also a sense of responsibility. It's also created another problem for me, because now it's not just about me and being the teacher and student, it's now me, the student, and now there's other students, and there's 1,000 students, which I didn't expect. I probably don't want any more students at this stage, because at this stage I just want to solve the problems that I've got now. So having 1,000 students means you've got responsibility. My responsibility is to make sure they become deep learners, to make sure they change their lives, to make sure they find their goals, and to push them to find their ecstatic goals. Because at the end of the day, like a karate teacher, if you don't instill that discipline in action and you don't make it into a long-term habit, doesn't matter how good the course is, if we don't instill that long-term habit with long-term actions and daily actions, then not much will change. But I know I've experienced it, I've studied it, I understand how the human brain works. When you excite the brain, you excite it through action towards a desire. Actions towards a desire. Problems will give you the ability to action those problems towards a desire. And we live in fearless mode, because fear will kill. And fear is your biggest enemy, and fear hates action. Fear would rather have you sitting down on the couch, scrolling on social media, drinking alcohol and feeling sorry for yourself, and then ringing up your friends or someone to gossip. Okay? Or going onto social media and criticise someone else that's doing something. They're doing something you're criticising. It's usually the person that's doing, they're the ones that are going ahead in life. The ones that are criticising, the critic is always the one that's living in fear, because they've never done it. They've never done it in their lives, so they're living in fear. And so they look at that person, and of course, when you're doing something, you're going to make mistakes. But the actions of solving problems towards a desire, solving problems when you don't have the skill sets and knowledge to do so, those actions means that you are going to make mistakes, you are going to fail. Who gives a shit? Because you're fearless. And that's why a lot of these billionaires, self-made billionaires, they always say success leaves clues. And so if that's the case, and you look at the data, and you look at the recipe, every single one of those 50 self-made billionaires that I've studied in the last 30 years, they were fearless, and they actioned before they even had the skill sets or knowledge to do so. They didn't jump into the deep end, knowing they're going to make mistakes, knowing they're going to fail, knowing there's going to be lots of problems. Because as I keep saying in deep learning, when you get your goal, you have to have the problems. Those problems are your action lists. And every single one of those problems, you're probably not going to have the skill sets and knowledge to solve them. But we still action to solve them, so we can make mistakes, so we can fail, so we can then reflect and learn to find a way to solve the problems. And that is a deliberate way of learning. It's the healthiest way of learning. It's the best way of living. Because for me, and for anyone that's a deep learner, there's no other way you'd rather live.